Hi guys, so we're back again with another interview, and today I've got Farhana, the founder of Culture Planet, with me today. So we're gonna just talk about your business and how it came about. So if you'd like to just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your company.
Sure. So I'm Farhana. I'm the founder of Culture Planet, and it came about a year ago, around the same time, actually, right before Ramadan started. It was in the beginning of COVID, and it was one of those times where everybody was trying to figure out what they wanted to do because there's nothing to do at home. And I was actually going through a lot of different websites. So I was seeing so many different Desi cultures, India, Pakistan. They were doing so many different co- um, clothing lines for themselves and for their countries. And I kept looking up for something for Bangladesh, and I really couldn't find one. And I decided, okay, why don't I try finding, since I love fashion and I love especially living in hoodies, literally, I figured why not start something that Bangladeshis can wear and represent and be comfortable in. And while I was doing that, since it was almost Ramadan at the same time as well, I figured I can combine the things that matter to me the most, which is me being a Muslim, me being a Bangladeshi American, and which is comfort, which is my hoodies. So I put it all together, and out came Culture Planet, and here we are 1 year later.
That's great. Well, congratulations on reaching the 1 year milestone, because I know it's really difficult for any business in the beginning, especially in the very first. It's either make or break. So it's glad to, I'm glad to see that you're still going on. You've reached 1 year and hopefully more. So you're from Texas, I believe. What is there like a Bangladeshi community in Texas where you are at the moment?
So, so I'm actually from Michigan, and then I moved down to Texas a couple years ago. And because of COVID, I haven't really got to meet very many Bangladeshis, but I do hear it's a very big community out here. But since Texas and the Dallas area is a really big area, everyone is very dispersed. So finding them is kind of hard unless you go to the masjid. You'll find Bangladeshis there, but from what I hear, it's a very big Bengali community down here. In Michigan, however, we do have a very big Bangladeshi community. I grew up around many Bengalis and have so many of my close friends as Bengali, so it was really great to grow up like that. We grew up with Bangladeshi melas and Boishaki melas and everything, so it was really fun. We even have in Michigan actually a whole street named Bangladesh Avenue because of the amount of stores that are there, so it's really cool.
That's really good to hear. That's nice to know that someone's done that and named their whole street after Bangladesh. That's really nice to hear. So I've actually seen your bio about your mission for that. For me, when I look at your page, it kind of represents streetwear, but more directed to the younger generation. So obviously, your mission you put is mission to represent. If you had to elaborate on that representation, what would the mission be if you had to say it to someone?
Sure. So the mission basically is, so when I was growing up, for one, I was around many Bangladeshis, but we didn't have very much still representation. So once I got to high school, I was pretty much one of the very few Bangladeshis. I moved around a lot. So my high school was very white. So we're not very Bangladeshi. So when I see everyone being able to represent their cultures from India, Pakistan, any of the Arab countries, wherever you're from, you'll see a lot of clothing lines with the Chinese letters on it, and they have representation and everything. I could never see one with Bangladesh on it. So I wanted to be able to give young people and even my generation a chance to wear what they love and represent who they are as Muslims, as Bangladeshis, and put them together and be able to wear it around and be like, hey, yeah, this says Bangladesh on it. And one of my hoodies says freedom on it. So if somebody asks, oh, what does that mean? What does that say? They can proudly say, this is in Bangladeshi from where I am from and what I speak. This means freedom, and I'm proud of it. So the mission is basically to give young people the chance to represent themselves proudly and in a cool fashion statement.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I also noticed that you've had culture and religion combined together with the slogans as well, which is pretty cool as well. And it definitely does scream to the younger generation. Also, when people, like you said, I believe so that there isn't many companies that do Bangladeshi slogans, and it gets people talking because when they, they see Chinese, like you say, they see a lot of Arabic. So I think this stem from people doing Arabic on whether it be clothing, fashion items, or even like jewelry. So when someone does see some Bangladeshi writing, it gets them thinking, oh, gets them curious. I bet. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and
you
you wonder,
probably
and
get a
you
lot
get,
of people asking as well, like, what does it mean? So that's good because we're educating people, but in a really nice and subtle, forgiving way. So that's nice. Um, what would you say is the most important thing to you about your company?
um, to me, it screams identity because it's like you said, it combines everything, at least that I am. So as an American, as a Muslim, and as a Bangladeshi, I was able to combine that, and that is the most important thing to me because I know that when I see so many stories all over social media, some people are having different identity crises because they grew up so differently in so many different types of the world, and they don't know how to represent themselves. So the most important thing to me is you can represent yourself by putting every bit of yourself, all of it together, every little trait of yourself and putting it together. And that is the most important thing to me because that's what makes you you, being having a different type of religion, a different type of culture, speaking something different, that is your uniqueness. And I feel like putting all of it together, that's the beauty of it. And that's what I love about my business is that I'm able to put it all together as much as I can.
That's great. Okay, moving forward. If you were to, you know how people interview, when you go to a job interview, everyone always asks you what are your strengths and weaknesses. I'd like to direct that question to you, but in a different way. So, what are your strengths and weaknesses within the company? Like, what would you say they are?
The company. A weakness I'd have to say is sometimes myself. So since I run basically everything and I do, life sometimes gets in the way, even throughout COVID, there's a lot of downs when shipping was really, really bad through my manufacturer. At one point, I kind of gave up on it, but I kept the website up. But that's kind of the weakness was me becoming either too busy or too lazy, or I just wanted to give up on it because it wasn't doing as well as I wanted. And the strength was that I wanted to make this work and I needed to make this work because this company is to represent the younger community. And so I'm a huge fan of TikTok. So when I see so many young people on TikTok and Bangladeshis and I see how proud they are and I see all these videos of, hey, I'm a Bengali, I want to be able to send these people and let them have some kind of outlet where they can purchase items that actually say, I'm Bengali, this is who I am. And that was the strength that came about my company. That's the strength of it for sure.
That's great. That's so nice to hear. Okay, so obviously, since it's been about a year now, so since you've launched your clothing brand, have you come across anyone else doing similar things, or have you seen that there might be someone out there who might be your competitor at all through the year that you've just had?
Um, I've seen a few, not that many. Um, Not that many, to be honest. The most I see is a lot of people will do the flag on our shirts or something for, just one of the events for Bangladesh that's coming up, things like that. Um, but a huge competitor I haven't seen just yet.
Good. That's great to hear because it means that you can progress further. Because sometimes, I guess it works both ways. Sometimes when you have a competitor, it will drive you a little bit harder to succeed and be different and be known and to stand out. But then it can also affect you and think, oh, there's someone out there doing it much more better than me. So maybe I should just stop. So it's nice to hear, and
Yeah.
it's nice to know that you're not doing that, and I'm so glad as well that you're not going to do that. Okay, we're going to sum this up. Where do you see Culture Planet in, say, 3 to 5 years time?
3 to 5 years time, I hope that I can provide a lot more designs and so much more different kind of wear. Right now, I know it's a lot of loungewear and comfy wear, but I do want at one point for to I don't know how to explain this.
Well,
It's in my no, no, no,
it makes sense at
no,
the moment because that's what people are wearing at the moment. So
yeah, that's what it is. So eventually, so when it comes to fashion for me, it really progresses depending on the timing.
yeah,
And right now, because of COVID, it's a lot of loungewear, so that's what I'm more um providing. But in about 5 years, I hope I can provide more, still streetwear, but still more items that have different designs. So right now, unfortunately, my manufacturer doesn't have, I have a lot of limitations to my designs, to what I can provide. In about 5 years, I would really hope that I don't have those limitations of designing and providing different types of products, not just hoodies and loungewear. I hope I can provide a lot more different types of things and different types of products and a lot more better designs, hopefully. Working on it. So hopefully, inshallah, that's where I see it in 5 years. Hopefully, a brand that's growing, a brand that artists and Bengalis that I see everywhere, anywhere are representing.
I think you're going to do really, really well. I've seen a few pieces and I think they're absolutely amazing. You're going to definitely stand out if you continue the way you're going because you are a fairly new page and it's only been a year. So hopefully going forward, you will expand to not just the USA, UK. I mean, we're in the UK, we know about you, so worldwide,
Yeah,
you'll be amazing, I think. So it was really, really nice to speak to you today, Farhana.
you
Hopefully
too.
I'd get to speak to you a little bit more and watch you progress over the years as well. So we're definitely going to stay in touch. Just if you want to, if you've got a message for the younger lot or anything, you're more than welcome to state that.
Sure. Well, first, thank you for having me. I know I'm small business, but you guys, reached out to me, and I really, really appreciate that. I think my main message is to whoever is watching this is just be proud of who you are and be proud of your identity and every aspect of yourself and represent it to the fullest extent. Sorry.
Okay, thank you so much for coming on. I'm really, really glad I reached out to you. Hopefully, like I said, we'll stay in touch and everyone on my Bangla and so forth will get to see you progress, hopefully, in the next 3 to 5 years. So, yeah, thank you.
Inshallah. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.